our successful bidder last year as well. So we get quotes from 3 companies, they're all attached. And Northco came in with the low figure again this year. So there's a difference of like $17.33 between the first and the second quote. So
we used them before?
we have used them quite a bit in the past, and they came back to us last year, getting the low quote. So, excuse me, we did go with them last year, and I would request that we go forward again with them this year. They do really good work for us.
Okay. Do you have a motion to approve that contract? Motion by Supervisor Molino, second by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item 4, referral pending item, Warrensburg parcel 211.17-2-43.2.
This is one that we've talked about, I don't know if it was last committee or I think it was the committee before, that we had talked about touching base with the neighboring owners. We did move forward last month with the Hague one. Still, I've had no contact with this person in Warrensburg. I've reached out to her several times. I did a letter, numerous phone calls, and I'm getting nothing in return. So I don't want to just assume that she doesn't want it, but the only other option would be to go knock on her door. And I don't.
Okay.
We're going to reach out to her. I'll give you an answer within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Perfect.
We're going to go out and
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Send the sheriff's office. No, we'll take care of that.
The only other option is to put it back through the tax sale, right?
Right.
And
At this point.
it's been several times.
Yeah.
We've tried that route. Okay. Okay. Next item 5 is discussion to rescind amend resolution 151 of 2007.
I think Martin's gonna pass out some information to everybody on that.
Oh boy, yeah. Thought you'd be excited about
Dennis's
that.
favorite thing, math.
Get it serious.
I know this parcel. We're on it. Luzerne Road is right here. This is the parcel, the little highlighted parcel.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Right?
Yes.
So this is, this matter pertains to a resolution that was passed in 2007. There is a parcel, Town of Queensbury parcel 309.10-1-86. It's along Luzerne Road, near the old landfill. It's a small parcel, and in 2007, what we did is we adopted Resolution 151 of 2007, essentially to confirm that the property had been merged into property owned by the state right-of-way along Interstate I-87. We also deleted some outstanding taxes on that property of about $5,500. So we deleted and canceled the taxes. Some time ago, the City of Glens Falls, and I would note that Assistant City Attorney Mark Ream is here this morning. I've had a number of conversations with Mark, and we've exchanged some correspondence, and it's been very good about doing some research, background research on this parcel. The city owns the property surrounding this small parcel, and the parcel is highlighted on the map that I handed out to you in yellow. The city owns the property surrounding this parcel and has acquired it through the years. And the city is interested in acquiring this small parcel to be included in its overall land holdings. Because the property was, we felt, merged into the state of New York, we reached out to State DOT, and State DOT takes the position that It's not merged, that they have not acquired that parcel. And Lexi received a letter on March 11, 2015, from Melinda McClone, Real Estate Specialist 2 from the Department of Transportation, which confirms the DOT's position that they have not acquired this parcel as part of their highway right-of-way. So, question becomes what to do about this parcel. It would appear, history-wise, ownership-wise, that it was owned in 1909 by a Jerome Chadwick. In 1931, it was conveyed to a Franklin Chadwick and a Viola Chadwick, and then in 1951, it was conveyed to a Wagaman and Collier Equipment and Supply. By the research that's been conducted, Wagaman and Collier has dissolved and discontinued, and there's no indication that they are a functioning entity. So this parcel is just kind of out there, with no one claiming ownership. The state's not claiming ownership. Wagaman and Collier seems to have disappeared, and there really isn't any indication as to who might be the true owner of this property at this point in time, other than the last known owner, which is Wagaman and Collier. What we'd like to suggest as a resolution here to this sort of interesting problem is that we consider amending Resolution 151 of 2007 to bring this property back onto the assessment roll, back onto the tax roll. We would not touch the deleted tax portion of this, but if we bring this back onto the assessment roll, we can put it into the foreclosure. It's a vacant piece. A couple of years can go by, and we can then take title to it, assuming that nobody pays the taxes and nobody redeems. We can take title to it through the foreclosure process. We can sell it through the auction, or, as you know, we have a means through a policy of conveying directly to a municipality should the municipality desire that it wants it, and certain conditions are met. So this is one of those parcels that's out there. I think we need to do something with it. It seems that this is in my view, a pretty good way, pretty good resolution of handling this, and it may be a way to help out the city here. The city is the only entity that has surfaced that wants to do something with this property, and it seems to me that this is unfortunately going to take a little time. We don't own it. I want to make it clear, we don't own it. We never took title to this property, correct, Mike?
That's correct.
But the idea is that we would, through a foreclosure process, if we can amend this resolution and get it back into a foreclosure proceeding.
Mm-hmm. This property adjoins the landfill?
The landfill.
Yep.
That's correct.
Yes.
Where's the use of the city of Glens Falls property adjacent to it? Not the landfill, but the other piece they have title to. Do you know what?
To my knowledge, all of it is, which one are you talking about, Dennis? This is all the landfill.
The whole thing?
The whole thing, yeah, it's segmented, and the reason why it's come to a head with us is DEC had us go back in there, do some work, and reopen it up and bring it into compliance, and as a function of that, you know, the whole property, we tried to bring it into one property owner. That's when I came up with the fact that, you know, we didn't really have title to this parcel. I went to the resolutions, and now we're here.
So it's all your fault?
Yeah.
And actually, it's DEC's fault, because they wanted us to come into compliance. But,
Not here, we'll blame it on them.
Do you need a resolution?
Yeah, I think we would have to have a resolution to put it back on the tax
Yes.
roll.
I'd make a resolution to do that, and in accordance with Martin's suggestion.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt.
Quick question, the quickest way of accomplishing this is there a quicker way other than,
We,
putting it on fork?
we've struggled with that, Supervisor. The problem is that we don't own it. And the last known owner is Wagaman and Collier, kind of disappeared, right? Dropped off the face of the earth, and so the city can't reach out to them and say, we'll take this from you. They've tried. So, we took some action back in 2007. We can modify that action, ultimately acquire title to this, and, you know, there's the whole issue with environmental, we'll deal with that, et cetera, but ultimately, the idea would be is that we would convey this, if we acquire title, we would convey it to the city.
There's no surviving shareholders of that Wagaman and Collier holder, is it a corporation? It doesn't even,
Yeah, the corporation, according to New York State records, dissolved in 1985. There really hasn't been much action. I've tried to look for somebody that could sign on their behalf, and if anybody knows anybody there, they really don't, I mean, the property isn't very valuable to anyone but the landfill. I don't know what you do with it, surrounded by landfill.
right. Hey, Dennis?
You bring up an interesting point, I know this is what we're talking about. Have you done like a phase one environmental review, or has this thing ever been like a gas station, or
It's been a repair shop. It used to be, there used to be a bar room sitting on it for a long time. But one of the concerns we had back in '07 when we looked at this and tried to determine the title was that it is adjacent to the landfill. And we were concerned about that as a possibility. And that's one of the reasons why we looked at it real hard, and it was our interpretation at the time that the state did take it. Unfortunately, when you look back at their taking, they went right around it.
I think we need some caveat in there that we don't wanna assume any environmental issues here.
I agree, and I think that we wouldn't be assuming any environmental issues. I think what we would do is we would get the process started. Again, the key is to get it back on the roll. We really can't even start a foreclosure process for 2 years. Get it back on the roll. We're not assuming any liability by putting it back on the roll. We don't own it. We start that process. Let's see who may come forward and claim that they own it. And then, as we start the process, we can talk about, at that point in time, any safeguards that we need to put in place for purposes of keeping us safe.
The other thing is, I know personally that both principals, Wagman and Collier, had passed away, that were part of that company, so, you'd have to start looking for heirs, I guess. I don't know, I don't know legally what you would do, but I do know both of those gentlemen did pass away quite a while ago.
That raises the question of where you send the tax bill then too, right?
Well, you know, we'll have to figure that out. Last address.
Last known address on the tax bill.
I still have a concern there. So we go through this, we get title, and we find out there's some environmental issue in the city of Glens Falls, and we don't wanna deal with that.
Well, it just, again, my thought was just, and kinda letting it out here a little bit.
Can we talk afterwards?
Well, we can, but, you know, there is that temporary incidence of ownership, and we've had these kinds of arrangements before with municipalities where we say we'll start a foreclosure process, obtain temporary incidence of ownership, provided that the city of Glens Falls steps up to the plate and does that phase environmental, et cetera. So you see what I'm saying? So we did that in Warrensburg, we may have done it elsewhere. I believe we did it in Warrensburg, right, Chair?
And two factors.
So that was sort of my thinking, is that we would employ that before, and as soon as we get that temporary incidence of ownership, which we've proven we can do in the past, we're really protected there, Dennis, as far as any environmental contamination. But the key to success there is, if the city truly wants this, the key to success there is that the city is going to step up to the plate and do the review.
Well, the good thing is, Martin, you and I won't be here.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on it? Not, we'll call the question, all in favor? Aye, opposed, carried.
We do have one more item we'd like to add to the agenda that was not on there. And that would be, the properties that were owned by the Mosers that we gave the extension to. The extension deadline was yesterday. The treasurer's office, I believe, had some contact with them, looking for figures of what they did owe as of last week. So they were very well aware of yesterday being the deadline. However, nobody showed to pay.
I guess Chairman Garrity said he had a conversation with them.
Yesterday afternoon,
Yeah,
We won't be able to.
conversation, but no
We won't be able to.
insufficient money, right?
We won't be able to meet the process.
Okay, so it's back in the sale, right?
Did he offer any other,
Well, no,
did he show
because,
any other alternatives or not?
that was you have to talk to
Yeah,
Mr. Garrett, I don't know.
You said he would not be able to meet what he agreed to. Did he offer an alternative to his ability to meet, or did he not?
I just left it at, you didn't meet what we set out. There would be no further discussions as far as I was concerned with Mr. Mosher, and that's the way I left it when he left. I don't feel, that you understand exactly how I felt, and, I would leave it at that. That's up to the committee and the full board.
So Martin, is there any other, action we need to take at this point?
I don't believe so.
No.
I think that, with the parcels that were before the board, just before the auction, which were removed from the auction, the county owns those parcels. We have title to those parcels.
Right.
And those parcels, are set to be included in this year's auction, and this year's process. That was the understanding, that was the deal.
Right.
And, I would remind everyone that, in order to accommodate this deal, this arrangement, we needed to get approval from the Supreme Court. I did that. I put together as Mike knows, I put together an application to the court. I spent a considerable amount of time on this, went to the court, made the arguments, got the order authorizing the county to convey these parcels back to the Mosers. So we had done everything that we needed to do legally to fulfill the wishes of the majority of the board. And, I think we maintained and kept our end of the arrangement, and did so, and now, I think you're right, Mr. Chairman, these parcels are set legally to be sold at the October auction.
Lexi?
Do we take any action as for eviction purposes, because we are in title and they are, I know, actively still using one of the parcels?
Well,
I don't know if that's something we should be concerned with.
We don't usually do that.
we
do
don't usually do that, and, and again, and there's that provision under the county law that says that, if we are not engaged in activities of an owner in a proprietary interest on that property, which we're not, we don't incur any liability. So, to answer your question, Lexi, the committee and the board could authorize that, but, and I would echo the chairman's thoughts on this, we haven't done anything like that to date, to my knowledge.
There's outside possibility maybe of that, by an act, release the song.
He's not allowed to do that.
Buy his property back, he's not allowed to buy his
If
property.
he owes outstanding taxes anywhere else in the county, he cannot, and he does.
Isn't there a, environmental issue with one of the parcels?
That's a different one.
The difference,
That
it's
one
not
is-
included in these?
That one
That
we've
one's
been
not one of
removed
these
from
two.
everything, and we have, what's the term, Martin, temporary incidents?
Temporary incidents of
Okay.
ownership.
We're in the process of testing that,
So that's a sixth parcel, it's not one of the five?
Correct.
You're talking about the garage as temporary insanity.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Kevin, do you have something?
Yeah, they don't live in any of these parcels. Right.
No.
So it's not a
Well,
house.
I thought one of them was his
Let me
mother's
make clear.
house.
He
We're
redeemed
not
that.
living in
He
that.
redeemed
One is
that.
a barn and
okay.
one is a,
So he's got his mother's house, what about his house? Didn't she live in, she lived in a house
She
behind
lives,
it?
she lives across the street from the barn, which is one of the properties
Right.
that we're
I don't-
talking about. It's mom's house is across the street. His is the neighboring house just south or whatever you wanna call it, down the road on, behind it.
So is his house one of these parcels?
No, he paid on his.
So he has his house on top.
Yes, those are paid.
So said otherwise, for the record, all of the parcels that would go to sale this October, none of them are are presently being used for residential purposes. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct?
Thank you.
Just to refresh my memory, is there still 5 then? We started out with 5 and he redeemed one?
he basically paid up the installment on 3 of them.
Yeah,
It was a total of 5 parcels.
There was a total of
Right,
5.
right.
Besides the garage.
He paid up on the 2 houses, his mother's house and his house, and there's a piece over in Riparius which has a sawmill on it. All right, and, there's a sawmill,
Oh,
Thurman.
yeah.
okay? Now, across the street from the Thurman sawmill is a lumber storage lot that has a deteriorated mobile home on it. That's one of the parcels that we have title to. The other one is the barn that's right across the street from the mother's home on the South Johnsburg.
And the sawmill and
No,
repair? No, okay,
we only took title on the 2.
okay. Okay. So,
There is outstanding taxes on all those other parcels.
right,
That-
right, I'm
And
aware of that.
that was the deal,
Yeah, right.
that he
You
would pay those,
them all
he would
off,
pay all of
right,
those outstanding taxes.
Right. Okay, so there's really no action we need to take
I
at
don't,
this point?
I don't think so.
No, other than just, no, there really isn't, no.
So he's been duly notified, I think?
Oh, yeah.
He's been notified numerous times, he's been served with a copy of the court order, I believe, right?
Yes.
So is that?
Both he and his mother have been served with papers.
We had conversations with the mother last week. Richard obviously talked with Kevin yesterday, so
Yep.
they knew.
Yep, and I spoke to him, you know, he's well aware of it.
Okay, so is there anything else, Lexi? Not then, a motion to adjourn. Dennis? Dean, Marino, all in favor?
Martin, you have a couple minutes?
We got a big book here from Bob Schultz.
Yeah.